I have one word for you. Ursher.
I mean, did everybody enjoy Usher Bowl? I mean, Super Bowl?
It was great.
It was. It was exciting. Testament to like how hard he works. You can see. I mean, no one can believe he's 45.
Wait, what?
That
He's
man who
45.
danced that hard is 45.
Stop. That
All I
is
know is he
great.
had me out of my seat.
Me too.
I just saw a TikTok of this old man. He looked like he was, having a hard time. But when Usher played, he got out the seat and he was jamming, and it said like, "Granddad got out the seat like he was at the concert." And that's what happened to me. The kids were looking at me like, "What is?" I was like, "You don't know. This is how they did concerts in my time.
Same with
And
me.
You don't know. It's
I knew
different. Their
every
concerts
song.
now are different. It was a spectacle, and I missed that."
Well,
Agreed. It was like that. The Jacksons. It was like Michael. I saw his ode to
Yes.
Michael with the glove, which I loved. My favorite outfit, because of course I always go by outfits too, was the blue.
I mean, there
Oh
were
my
so
word.
many moments. And then I haven't seen what's going on with the Alicia Keys thing. They're
Something
calling
happened?
for an apology, I guess, because Usher, he likes to dance on his people.
Okay, I don't even want to say this. I was a tiny bit disappointed, but
What?
yeah, he didn't play
Oh.
like nice and slow. He didn't play enough of it for me.
Oh
My
my
number one.
gosh, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, but all in
Yeah.
all, he is the professional that he is. This is why he's at the top of his game, and super impressed that as of now he's like re-energized his fan base to what? This is a 30-year career at this point.
Which is why he said it was so hard to put that all in one place. And his fan base is primarily Black women who I arguably would say that we helped to re-energize his career when he had his Vegas residency, because that audience was filled with Black women and he came back.
Agreed.
He really has honed in on the Black female target market. And so it's interesting to just see how he was able to just go in, dig in, and get
Sold out.
his market back. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it just shows you again, back to our buying power. Our buying power is so strong. And I think honestly, when you really lean into it, when these brands like care about it and they lean into it as opposed to just, sort of pretending like we're not the fan base, we really respond. All right. Didn't like Girls Trip, that movie was like primarily the fan base was Black women and it was like 100 million plus movie. I mean,
Well, there is a Nielsen research, a report called African American Women Our Science, Her Magic. It showed that Black women have a purchasing power of $1.5 trillion. And the areas of influence, major influence, beauty, hair care, and social media trends.
wow, that's amazing. Well, I think that I love our buying power, and I want us to grow with our selling power. And I think that is what's happening now. I think post COVID is, I'm totally making this up, right? This is in my head, but this renaissance for Black female entrepreneurship. I think we are on the rise. I think we are adding business after business onto our CVs. And in addition to our regular jobs, we're adding our own businesses.
Facts.
I also just wanted to add in that the demographic that he hit this time, which is going to change things, is the young ones, because even my little one said that Usher has something to do with anime or something to do with anime. And so the young ones were waiting to see if he would throw up a sign.
Did he throw his sign?
I don't know. It was something where he crosses his fingers and I wasn't looking hard enough and he wasn't paying attention. So I would love it if anyone out there knew if he actually threw the anime sign. But literally, there are a bunch of little gamers were waiting to see if Usher was like, yeah, he hit another demographic. It's beautiful.
That's so cool. So if anyone knows if Usher made his anime sign, please email us at sispreneurs@gmail.com. That's SISPRENEURS stories, STORIES @gmail.com. I don't know if I said that. Sispreneur Stories @gmail.com.
And it can affect a young person's life. So I think it's important that people do let us know. Just saying.
Save a life. Save a child.
Exact. Save a child's life.
Welcome to Sispreneur Stories. We're a podcast created by three seventh-generation sister entrepreneurs. I'm Kanji.
I'm Aurora.
And I'm Janita.
Our family's background in business, particularly our father's business, drove us to create this podcast. We believe that women are strong and capable enough to balance being bold in the workplace while nurturing our households.
Today's theme is Beauty Boss, breaking the beauty industry mold. In this episode, we will be inspired, motivated, and encouraged by Chasity Monroe's remarkable story of breaking barriers in beauty and revitalizing her hometown's economy through her women-owned business. Today, we will embark on a journey of empowerment for those who dare to dream and take decisive action. Meet Chasity Monroe, Memphis's powerhouse entrepreneur shaking up the beauty industry.
Hello, Memphis. I'm Ernest Strickland, President and CEO of the Black Business Association of Memphis. In a world filled with noise, we stand firm, advocating for the prosperity of our community. As the title sponsor of Sispreneur Stories, our commitment goes beyond words. The Black Business Association has been an anchor for Memphis entrepreneurs, navigating challenges and championing resilience. Our involvement in Sispreneur Stories is a reflection of the serious work we're doing to redefine the business landscape in our city. May each episode be a catalyst for personal growth, resilience, and inspiration.
Meet my sister, everybody. Today's guest is Chasity Monroe, the unstoppable force behind Pink Noire beauty supply and cosmetics that has taken Memphis by storm. But this is no ordinary beauty store owner. Chastity's journey from graduate studies at Columbia University to becoming a Memphis mover and shaker is nothing short of extraordinary. In the midst of a global pandemic, Chasity seized the opportunity to relocate to Memphis and launch her dream. But her story doesn't stop there. Before diving into entrepreneurship, she led the charge at social enterprise investment firm Roberts Enterprise Development Fund, securing a jaw-dropping $100 million for their ambitious 5-year plan. We're going to get to that, Chasity. She's a woman on a mission to tackle social issues head on, with leadership roles at the ACLU of New York, New York Mission Society, and insights gained from Procter & Gamble. She is a force to be reckoned with, a proud HBCU graduate of Florida A&M. Chastity's a new mom, wife, and a devoted Memphis Grizzlies fan. Go Grizz! Chasity Monroe, Memphis's Sispreneur extraordinaire. Okay, Chasity, welcome, and tell us how you became a Sispreneur.
Yes, thank you so much for that great introduction. So I am a born and bred Memphian. So all of my family, even though I've moved, have pretty much been here for generations. My grandfather also was an entrepreneur, so I saw it very early on. He owned a funeral home, and while I was not really keen on not of the living, if you will, I definitely saw and, just really was inspired by him very early on. But that said, I always knew I wanted to have my own business, but I always knew also that it had to be something that I was very passionate about. And I have fortunately lived a life where I've been able to really try all of the things that I was very interested in, not knowing how I was going to do it, but getting it done. That includes fundraising. That includes working for like the biggest CPG marketing company in the world, P&G. And now that's including, being a Black-owned beauty supply store owner. So one would say I do feel like my steps have been ordered in that. Luckily, my career started in beauty at Procter. And I think that was definitely the seed to get me to where I am now. But I think the only person I can really give thanks to and give the praise to is God, because none of this would make
$100
sense
million.
without.
What is that
Yeah.
about $100 million?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. The majority of my career, I was a fundraiser and still am. I actually still do a little bit of consulting. I came on to this organization, which is phenomenal. Redis is what they call it for short. And Redis' charge is really to invest in, fund, and advise social enterprises, specifically that deal with employment. And so for me, that hit home. That was a passion because, it really impacted Black communities. So when there are employment social enterprises, typically they don't call themselves that, but they may look like a variety of things. For instance, if you look at something like even, let's say, I don't know, the Goodwill, right? The Goodwill is a business, but they employ people a lot of the times who would not be deemed employable. And there are a lot of businesses in Black communities that do the same thing, where they have an actual business structure, but they are literally upskilling and providing skills to people in the community who might have been felons, who might have had a record, who might even have different types of developmental issues or new moms, whatever you want to call it. These are organizations or businesses that exist. They don't call themselves that, but they're absolutely employing people that are in our communities. And obviously that has an impact on the economy.
Chasity, would you mind repeating again what that is, what the name of those organizations are, where they employ those people?
They're employment social enterprises.
Wow, that's interesting because I've never heard of that because, as you know, we have our own business and oftentimes we give people that chance, whereas a lot of people did not give people that chance. So I just think that people out there should know that there are things out there that we can do, even if you think that you have no way to make it in the world. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
And let me say this, I think it's important because this is happening in our communities, but we're not calling ourselves that, right? And there are organizations like Rediff. So Rediff would literally give a business like that $100,000 and say, here, we're going to infuse this into your business. And we're also going to give you technical assistance. And we're also just going to help you on whatever it is that you need help with in order to make you a sustainable business. And again, there are people who figured it out and said, yes, this is what we are. We're getting those grant dollars. But there's a lot of people who are doing this and don't know that that's what they are, quote unquote, called. And they're missing out on that. And the reason I loved Rediff is because, especially in their last 5-year plan, they set out specifically to look for Black and Brown people to infuse those dollars into their businesses. And that's why me raising the $100 million, which sounds like a lot, and it is, was really a joy. It was a joy. So
that leads me into our next question. So, as being one of the only African American women to own a beauty supply store in Memphis, can you tell us a little bit about breaking the mold on that?
Yes, it's funny. Now, in any type of publication you'll find varying numbers, but you may know that less than 5% of beauty supplies are Black owned in general, and probably less than 1% are Black woman owned, if you will. It's interesting because it's our industry. It's literally the Black hair industry, and we don't have a slice of that pie. But I grew up going to Black beauty supply stores, as a lot of us did. And so it was just like always a staple in the community. But I do always remember feeling like it was very transactional. For the amount of money that we spend in this space, it doesn't make sense that had never seen, a beauty supply store where I felt welcome, where I felt like I was being educated, where I felt like, I was being valued. Long story short, time passed. I went to Columbia. I took a entrepreneurship class in grad school. And the question that the professor asked was, where do you see an unmet need in your community? And instantly the beauty supply came to mind, which is odd, right? I was like, I feel like I'm going to the beauty supply store, but oftentimes I'm very confused. Nobody can answer my questions. It's just a weird vibe in there. So that is kind of what took shape. This was in 2017. I did that.
Soul snaps for her on this, you guys. This is soul snaps. This is what we do together. This is just okay. Everything you're saying. Okay, please proceed.
Long story short, my professor, who actually happened to be Asian, was like, listen, you should really go forward with this idea. In 2017, however, I was very hell-bent on being a fundraiser. For me, it was, I'm a Black woman in this space. I don't know many other Black women who, in that, at the time, I was considered like a leadership gifts or a major gifts fundraiser, someone who basically gets gifts of at least 6 figures from an individual who has that capacity. I didn't see it. So I'm just trying to like keep forging in that area, right? And so it was like, yeah, maybe one day. And fast forward, the pandemic happens. I'm a salon girl, but as we know, the salons were shut down. And so I actually was living in New York. I told my husband, we had just bought a property here. I said, listen, let's just hang out in Memphis for a while, until this little COVID thing blows over. Right. So I'm thinking this is like March of 2020. So I'm
Wow.
like, oh, no, we won't be here long. Like I literally came here with just like 2 or 3 pairs of yoga pants and a couple shirts. Like that was it.
You gotta
And
go. You gotta go with the yoga pants,
yes,
Chastity.
yes, that's literally what I came here with. And I will say, obviously, life was going on in that, we turned into this virtual environment. And so I didn't have anybody to do my hair. So I'm like, oh, crap. Okay, I got to figure this thing out. Now, the one store that was open was the beauty supply stores. And so thankfully, I'm like, I still got to look like something for the Zoom meetings, right? So I'm going to the beauty supply stores. And I remember this one particular day, I went to one. And first of all, I realized how in my area there was not one that was like immediately close. So I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever, it's fine. So I go to this one that's kind of far, but not too far. But I get there, it's raining. I go inside, there's tons of Black women in there. And y'all, it's raining outside, but it's also raining inside. There's literally like drops of rain coming in, like hitting the product. And people are
Oh
still shopping
no.
though.
Oh
Like
no.
we're all looking like this is crazy, but
No.
we all still need our things. So we're like, okay. So, and on top of that, I'm like, okay, I don't really know if I need this or I need this or I need this or I need this. And people are like looking at me, the owners of the store are looking at me as if I'm going to steal something. I'm looking bewildered because I'm like just trying to figure out what I need. And then, I'm also seeing the environment of like, there's rain coming in on this product. And,
I hate
and
that
yet,
feeling. That feeling
yes,
you're talking about when people think you're about to steal, it's just the worst.
yes. And
Sorry. Yeah,
what that is. It's
I do.
not like it's not like you're making it up. Like you know exactly what's happening when it's happening. And so I think from that moment I was like, you know what? I have to do this. I don't know where I'm gonna start, but I'm gonna do this. And that was really kind of the day that I decided I was gonna move forward and make this a reality.
Oh, that's such a
Love that
beautiful
idea.
story.
That really is.
All right, yeah. So moving along, I was curious. Your background includes working in like all these leadership roles. You talked about it a little bit, and how have those experiences shaped how you are an entrepreneur, how you're and your community impact?
So it's funny. I feel that my dad is actually a pastor. And so
Oh, all
yeah,
right.
yeah. So
Yeah, so was
I
our grandfather. Cool, cool, cool.
really okay.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
So then you guys know it's kind of like a thing that you grow up with of wanting to help, of wanting to lead, of not even wanting to, like being kind of put in those positions very early on. And so I always, grew up with the mantra, it's not even a mantra, it's in the Bible, right? To whom much is given, much is required. And so even when I was going through corporate and forging my way in that vein, it was always this sense of needing to give back, wanting to be and needing to be a leader and wanting to be the change that I wanted to see. And so I feel that that thrust me into kind of fundraising in the nonprofit area and being able to use my skills in a way that would positively impact passions and organizations that were near and dear to my heart. And, that also extended outside of that, right? Being in sororities, also just
Mm-hmm.
listening to other nonprofit causes that I wasn't maybe specifically working for. And I think those skills just naturally kind of propel you in your professional capacity to, kind of keep rising. So I think, especially, and
Absolutely.
I'm also the oldest. I'm like the oldest
Oh,
sister. So it
I've heard
starts
that
there.
the older sister is like the leader and sort of sets the tone for everyone
Yeah.
behind them.
Yep, yep, yep. So I think it kind of was just all in like my rearing, if you will. But it's something that has just kind of innately been, my path. And, I've always embraced it.
And I'm just curious, do you envision Pink Noir? I mean, the way I see it as a national change. I was just curious if that
Mhm.
was like your vision in the future is to expand outside of Memphis.
Absolutely. So, what we really envision Pink Noir is, for one, I've always been very vocal about wanting to share this opportunity, wanting to be in a space where we see more Black owned beauty supply stores, right? And I think I learned a lot of lessons. I bumped my head a lot of times, right? And so, not wanting to have everybody else to go through that, we've definitely been looking into a franchise model where, we literally can kind of, it's the ropes to skip and the ropes to know type of situation. We're saying, hey, this is the opportunity. This is pretty much, the blueprint for you to be able to do this, with our guidance. And we plan to obviously have that available across the country. Not only across the country, but we'd love to be able to expand to places that are underserved, like the UK. And even, going into Africa, which you would think, oh, no, they have tons of things. The quality of the products that they have there is just not the same at all. I feel that there's definitely a world opportunity for Pink Noir. And, I do hope that with us changing the paradigm, we'll just shift the norms in the entire channel. So yeah, that is absolutely our goal.
Who
Thank you.
else
That's
got
amazing
chill?
too.
Who else got
I
chill?
know.
Soul snaps. Yes. World domination. I love
Yes,
Go
and that is
snaps. Go snaps.
yeah.
and that's amazing because I love that you said global. A lot of times people look at Africa, although Africa is like the greatest, it's growing
Mhm.
in terms of technology, right? There's no other continent
Mhm.
or area that's growing so exponentially in technology and in economies. But at the same time, right, some of the services that they need are not up to
Mhm.
par with the other, just
Mhm.
that you thought about that and put that in there. I can't wait to see, you along with other people, really us thinking about going to Africa and expanding our empire, or not even our empires, developing these intercontinent relationships.
They want us to be there. They want, especially as Black people, as African American people, they have really, there's so
Yes,
many countries who are extending dual citizenship or just the right to
100%.
abode because, especially in Ghana, you literally don't
Yep.
even need a visa if you're an African American and you want to be there because they're like, listen, we understand our wrongs and we're welcoming y'all back. And I mean, we see all of these other communities that are very much so going in and really trying to, develop. And
Yeah,
why not us? Why not us? I think it's
absolutely. Why?
definite,
And
for
you
us
did
to
just
claim.
say, Chastity, that they are accepting people there without visas. That's interesting.
Yes,
Good to
Ghana in
know.
particular. Yes,
Yes, Ghana.
Ghana.
Yep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I get it. That's where the ships were sent off that made it through the Middle Passage. And here we are today. And so
Mm-hmm.
just thinking about that, Chastity, you have a very specific, unique value proposition. You have set that up from the moment we heard you speaking, the discomfort you feel when you don't know, you're not able to consult with the people who are selling you the products.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling there's discomfort being watched. And, can you just talk about how not only you tailor the experience, but you also tailor the products to African American or let's just say Black and brown women, because
Yes.
this is global. So let's just
It
say,
is. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm glad you said that. I rarely say African American, but I do think in the context of when we talk about, Africans in, Black folks, I try to be a little bit more specific. But yes, Pink Noir is really for Black and brown folks, period. And for us, it's really about three things, right? So one, we talk about the brands. So having the brands that not only we want, but we also just have never maybe been exposed to. And when I say that, Pink Noir, one, is set up such that we highlight Black and brown brands, period. And not the ones, even if they have been bought, we will talk to those, but we really like to showcase those because they're oftentimes not showcased and highlighted in other venues, and not just the ones that are mainstream, but we also love to have indie brands in our stores. And so you'll see that oftentimes we will have pop-ups. And now it is a process. You can't just come and say, hey, I want to do a pop-up. We're going to do it tomorrow. It's literally kind of this thing where you do a little form, we have a meeting, we talk about your packaging, your branding, your pricing, and then we have a pop-up, then we consult after that. And then from there, we actually will house those brands in store. And we think that's important because we know for a lot of beauty brands, to be in a store legitimizes that brand. So if we can do that, we absolutely, are on board to facilitate if you will, that process. The second thing is ambiance, right? So again, oftentimes you'll go in beauty supply stores and you're like, okay, this looks like a transactional thing. Like I need to be in and out. And at Pink Noir, we're all about the luxe vibes. You come in, there's going to be chandeliers, there's pink couches. We even have like a little beauty bar. And the beauty bar is twofold. Like we have wine down Wednesday, champagne Saturdays. Like it's literally an ambiance and an environment that you want to be in, and it feels like beauty. And the third piece is the customer service piece. And that's extremely important. When you come into Pink Noir, we're going to say, hi, welcome to Pink Noir. What can I help you with today? And we're going to ask you questions to really understand what is it that you're looking for, whether that's maintaining, whether that's you're going into, maybe a new style, or maybe you just have some questions about a specific brand. We go into great lengths to educate our staff to make sure that they know the product knowledge, but we also are working directly with the brands, which does not happen in this channel. So there are multiple brands that we directly talk to and that we're directly having activations with, like Design Essentials, for instance, where we've had, specific events where Design Essentials reps have come in and, they have told us, okay, this is the product line. This is how you use it. This is how you don't use it. And, really just had a question and answer, and just the ability for the brands to talk to the consumers which sounds like it's something that should be very normal. It doesn't happen in this channel at all. So there are things like that we're constantly doing to not only educate our staff, but educate, our clients and consumers to make sure that, once they leave, they actually know how to use these products and they feel valued overall. So those are kind of the three tenets.
What's really cool about that, Chasity, that you're bringing back customer service, which I feel after COVID, it's very difficult to even get somebody on the phone. And the fact that you're even dealing with brands and having one-on-one conversations to actually speaking to people is something that I feel that we're lacking. And I'm so, so happy that you're bringing that back.
Time now for your Sispreneur Stories business tip.
Today's business tip is sponsored by Udl, connecting merchants with nearby consumers.
Understanding your target audience is crucial in business. Defining your target market means knowing who your ideal customers are and what they need. And here's how to do it. There are 5 tips that we want to offer today. 1, research. Look into who your potential customers are, age, interests, and what they struggle with. 2, segmentation. Divide your audience into groups based on similarities. That helps you create personalized messages for each group. Number 3, problem solution fit. Figure out what problems your customers have and how your product or service can solve them. 4, feedback. Keep gathering input from your audience. And 5, stay flexible. Be open to changing your approach as trends and preferences shift. And that's your business tip for the day.
Just out of curiosity, being a third-generation HBCU graduate, what role do you think your education and lineage has played in your journey as an entrepreneur? And do you think the commitment to empowering the community through business is part of that?
Absolutely. I'll say this. I think being a third generation HBCU graduate is what gave me the audacity to even think that I could do something like this, right? When I say
Not the audacity, courage.
yes, it's really the audacity because by all means, like, we are not as Black people welcome in this industry. We're just not. Even though the industry is for us, it's not really by us at this point. And so even being audacious enough to say, hey, I don't really know how to do this, but I'm going to do it, definitely came from the confidence of coming from a family that was HBCU grounded and going to an HBCU and being around the best of the best that looked exactly like me, being taught by the best of the best that looked like me and could really help me just even outside of academia know how to deal with all of the things that I'm dealing with now. I think it's probably like outside of all the know-how, outside of, like the accounting and all of those things, it was really the confidence that I've been given and the network, right? So outside of, the confidence, just knowing that I can pick up the phone and 9 times out of 10, I can actually contact either somebody who knows somebody or somebody who actually has dealt with various things that I'm going through in that time. And a lot of that is my FAMU network, but sometimes it's somebody, from Howard, or it might be someone from Spelman, or it might be someone, from Hampton or whatever. But all that to say, I think the network and the confidence is absolutely what's helped me to get to where I am. And I think overall, what's instilled is that you are the best and you can do whatever it is that you want to do is what kind of has propelled my leadership and just the ability to continue to be able to do things that others look at like, girl, bye. Like, why are you trying to do that today? But it's like, no, why not me? So yeah, I absolutely think that it's been kind of the thing that has helped me to forge my way into these kind of new frontier, these pioneered spaces, but also has helped me to be able to sustain because I had that network to kind of lean on as well.
Amazing. See all the work that HBCUs do. I mean, I've always heard someone talk about it, like builds you from the inside so that you can go out and be great.
And again, networking. Networking is the most important thing. If you're not out there meeting people, not out there talking. And I also love the fact, Chasity, that you mentioned that you reach out to people when you need help. Because I find that oftentimes in business, you'll have people they think that they need to know everything. But I think that you grow and you become better when you ask those questions and know that you may not know something that you need. So thank you for bringing that up.
That's a vestige of slavery in that we try to be resilient. And so we don't outwardly share some of our vulnerabilities. It's just great that people like you, Chasity, are breaking that mold, Yeah.
Yeah. And I've always, it depends on how long we have to talk about this. No, I'm just kidding. But I have always.
I'm sorry, because that was a great point, Kanji. Please, Chasity, great point. Yeah.
Because especially as Black women, I feel like, it's been this like strong Black woman thing, right? Like we can do anything, we can do everything, and you just need to figure it out because you got it and you're a Black woman. And I said long ago, like, absolutely not. No. I'm going to lean on people when I need to lean on them. I'm going to ask for help when I need help. And I'm going to let you know when I'm overextended. I'm going to say no. I mean, literally from probably the time that I was in high school and very aware, I just knew that there was something wrong with that. Now, that doesn't mean I don't get it done because I'm a workhorse. And I have to remind myself constantly, like, girl, you can't run one building a day. Like, you need to rest, you need to recuperate. But at the same time, that's not how really successful people get to where they are. Like, they ask for help. People outside of us, they collaborate. That is how these ecosystems like exist. That's what it's built on. Now we sometimes feel like, no, I don't want anyone to know I'm struggling, or, I don't want to put that out there in the atmosphere and, have so-and-so talking about me. Listen, let them talk, let them do as they will or may. And then you're going to be crying yourself to the bank at the end of the day, because you would have still gotten that help and you would have still gotten the things that you need to get to where you are versus someone else who's keeping it inside and their whole, business or whatever is crumbling. Like, it makes no sense. So for me, it's about one, letting go of that whole strong Black woman trope, if you will, no, I'm fragile. I need help sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
my
yes,
goodness. Yes.
open my door, help me out. But at the same time, still just wanting to be kind of knowing that I have to, because I've been conditioned to be that, having to remind myself constantly that it's okay and I'm going to be better for it at the end of the day. So,
Yes. And, I just want to go back to something you said. It was so fascinating. I feel like there's sometimes a stereotype Black businesses run. And I love to hear you talk about how important it is to you to train your customers to also give that seamless experience, to have these businesses that are top level. They're not this, trope of what, or this, idea of that, Black businesses, like they don't have good service. They're not going to value you. They're going to make you wait. I really wish you could talk a little bit about why, what made you put that? What made you make that important in your business?
yeah, but I still, it's something that I still think that I run into because of what kind of has been systemically ingrained in our heads as consumers. And I'll tell you one thing, and regardless to how much customer service or brands or whatever, if people come into my store, they automatically assume that it's going to be very pricey and expensive. Just like, oh, this is a Black owned business. It looks like this, everything's about to be high, and it's so interesting that, that perception is there. And I will say that I've literally had people come in and go right back out just because of like the way that it looks. But once people actually come in, which is why for us, the customer service is important, like really greeting them and making sure they can come in and giving them the opportunity to see, no, like our products are actually very competitive with any other beauty supply store you're going to go to, on top of still receiving the ambiance and the customer service. It's like, oh, okay, no, you're right. This actually is like a business. Now, I will say, being a new business, if you will, we've been open for about a year. There are going to be things that happen, right? Like there's going to be staff that calls out. There's going to be things that happen because that's just the nature of things in business. And I can't do anything about that. But what I can do is, offer my apologies for that, offer some type of discount, or offer something to let people know, like, hey, I understand that this was a flub and this is how I plan to remedy it. And going forward, build systems so that that doesn't happen again. And that's really my biggest thing is, I know I cannot control people's perceptions and I can't control, years and years and years of things that have been put into our minds. But what I can control is how I react or respond to things, and then what I put into place so that this doesn't necessarily happen again. And that's kind of been my motto, since the beginning of opening this business.
Absolutely. As a business, is the whole idea of like putting systems in place to prevent something in the future so you have a better response. And, that's absolutely.
Yes, yes. And I will say that I ordered, I was surprised how low the prices were. I also, it's already like on the way. I got the edge control and the comb brush combination. Anyway, okay. Yeah, and then you can like dip it out, and okay, I cannot wait to use that tool. So
See,
yeah.
that's what I mean. Things you can use, customer service. We appreciate you, Chasity. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And we do try. And like I said, listen, you have to come in because I know, you might be to the edge thing. So we can definitely help you out. We got two big vanity mirrors. We're all about, like helping, you get to where you need to be. So I'm excited to, first of all, thank you for even purchasing, but you got to come in so we can hook you up.
Yes. I do not know how to do my edges. And I always, I mean, it's fine. They're always poofy, but I think that we're in a day and age where YouTube is here and I just stop.
I was just saying something funny because our sister did edges back in the 70s and she never stopped. And it came back inside. She always had her edges tight from, day one from like the 80s. And so it's just really cool that it came back around and she still has her edges.
And J-Lo rocks her edges. She's always been rocking her edges. You got to appreciate those edges.
Yeah.
Edges are big. They're a huge, which is why that is actually our first Pink Noire product was an Edge product because of how big and important it is. So listen, you were on to something a long time ago.
It frames your face. It's what frames your face. So speaking of, I mentioned YouTube, your social media game is okay. I'm going to go back a throwback. It's on fleek. So can you just like talk about your social media game and then your top advice that you would give cispreneurs facing challenges, personal,
Yeah.
professional, and maintaining that mold breaker mentality. So yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much. It's funny because I feel like we should be doing so much more with our social media. I'm just like, I look at other people's and I'm like, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. But I also realize, really building a business and this is year one. So what I did learn early on is that one, get help. Like if you can, like in the early phases, I did everything myself. And I was still working a full-time job and trying to build a business and a new mom. And it was stressful. And it made it such that, when I was putting the content together, you could tell because it was just like, okay, let me just get it out there. But when you're actually having fun and, you have the time to like really show people who you are, that's when you get the engagement, especially as an entrepreneur. People want to see your journey. People want to learn about who you are, and they just want to feel like they're rooting for the underdog. And I think that's like a huge, huge, huge component to a very successful social media strategy, if you will, is just showing things outside of, oh, we're having this sale, or, like really get into who you are and, show people kind of what's going on. And people love to just be able to feel like they're growing with you. And that's what I try to do. In addition to, I do have a social media manager. So we talk and we plan things out accordingly. So it can't just be that sometimes I'm very spontaneous if it's something that I feel like folks should know, but oftentimes these are things that are planned. And again, we can definitely see the difference in when we're just like, doing some educational things, or if I'm like literally talking and just sharing things that's happening, with me or the business, because I think people really do connect with those things. They connect with that, human, that emotional piece, if you will. So one, I learned you can't do it all by yourself. Get you some help, even if it's someone that's new to the game. You can always delegate and get that person to help you figure out like how to kind of pull these things together and when to get them out and how to get them out efficiently. But then two, making sure that you're being you. Like people are tired of just like the fake Barbie, I'm perfect all the time. Like people want to really connect with who you are as a person. And I think that that's really what kind of drives it. And three, just know it takes time. We've done way better on our TikTok than we have on Instagram. And I'm an Instagram girl. I'm an older millennial. So I'm like, oh, I wish we could be doing better. But, on TikTok, we have almost 22,000 followers.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
Yeah. On Instagram, we only have like 4,500. I'm like, what in the world? So it is what it is, though. You just have to kind of, I think there's a season, right? And so when you get it right, you get it right.
Get in where you fit in.
Exactly. So I think that would probably just be the advice, just to know that, try different, like for us, we haven't done LinkedIn. So that's something we might want to try. Pinterest is also one that has like really taken off in different ways. So just try and, see where it is that your people are and don't give up. It'll be like the weirdest thing that you post that'll go viral and have all these views. So it's a constant grind, but it's definitely one that I feel like in this day and time, you absolutely have to devote, some energy to.
Great. Thank you so much. So I know we've talked a bunch about your products, but I would love you to mention number one, some of the Pink Noire products that you currently sell that are Pink Noire exclusive, that the brand,
Mm-hmm.
the Pink Noire brand, and also talk about how people can find your business and follow your business.
Yeah. So right now we only have our edge control that is Pink Noire. However, y'all are getting this scoop because within the next 2 weeks, we are going to be debuting a growth oil, a shampoo, a conditioner, and
Love a
also
scoop.
yes. So we have not told anyone this. So y'all are like the first to know this. So we're super excited to be growing our hair care line. But in addition, we were recently awarded a grant. So we will also be expanding our services. Right now, we have 2 large vanities where we do makeup. But within the next 6 weeks, we will also be offering esthetician services and lash services as well. So Pink Noire will literally be like a one-stop shop. And we are thrilled about it. Edge, shout out to Edge, EDGE, for the grant that's going to, really be able to help us to do those renovations. Now, if you want to come and visit us in store, we are at 152 North Avalon, which is Poplar and Avalon in Midtown Memphis. If you know Midtown Memphis, it's in the shopping center where the Home Depot is, right next to Planet Fitness. We're also online, www.pink, Noire, Noire.com. And we're on all of your favorite social media handles, pink_Noire.
Chasity, congratulations. That's such a big deal to go from one product into growing into something that's going to be global and change our beautiful hair. We appreciate you. So we want to close now with the Sispreneur lightning round. So these are just 3 fun one-answer questions to lighten up the conversation a little bit. So let's go out on a limb here, Chasity.
All right.
So if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Anyone who knows me knows it's going to be Malcolm X. I have loved Malcolm X from since the beginning of time. I think when we had to read it back in middle school, his autobiography, I was just like, oh my God, I love Malcolm X. And just, it's not just about him being like this militant figure, but him being this figure that literally was able to evolve. And that to me was just like, wow, a person who really can acknowledge if they feel like they were wrong, change direction and go into something totally different and still be such like a huge leader and inspiration and, someone who stamped in history. It'd be Malcolm X for sure.
Wow. Mind blowing. And next, what's your favorite guilty pleasure food that you indulge in from time to time?
Oh, so many that I shouldn't be.
You're not supposed to tell all the tea. We're just looking for the one big one.
Okay, the one big one. Oh, what would that be? Probably hot Cheetos. Yes.
Whoa. Are you talking about the fiery Cheetos?
I'm talking about the old school crunchy Cheeto, like the crunchy ones that are hot, like the Flaming Hot.
The Flaming Hots. That's what I meant. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. That was not what I thought you were going to say something like tres leche cake, but I'm down with you. That's some good stuff.
It is, but this is like even more ridiculously a guilty pleasure. So,
and I'm not mad at that. Last one. So, if you could teleport yourself anywhere in the world for a weekend getaway, where would you go?
Oh, I think it would be like Bali. And I've never even been, but just the serenity and being able to be in nature and just, being able to zen out would totally be where I want to be, especially given this crazy entrepreneur life. So yeah.
I just worry that you go out there and we wouldn't get you back. So
I'd probably join a temple and just be a monk or something and just be out of here.
I know, that's what I'm worried about. Oh, great answers.
They supposedly have the best quality of life. A lot of people are digital nomads and living there.
I could totally.
Well,
don't Chasity, you do it, Chasity. We need you here.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, tell her. Chasity, thank you so much for this inspiring, invigorating conversation. And for all that you're doing, just know that we're out here giving you soul snaps and encouragement.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel honored to be here, to just be speaking with you 3 who are also powerhouses as well. Thank you so much for even, bringing this platform and making it available to so many people. So thank you.
All right. All right. And as we come to the close of this electrifying episode of Sispreneur Stories, we have been truly inspired by the remarkable journey of our guest. We hope Chastity's journey has ignited a spark of empowerment within you, encouraging you to embrace your dreams and take bold, decisive action. Remember, each step you take can share your own path to success and create positive change. Thank you for joining us on Sispreneur Stories, everybody, where we celebrate the strength of women in business while nurturing our households. Until next time, stay fearless and keep igniting your own entrepreneurial fire. This is Kanji,
Aurora,
And Janita.
signing off.
This is Ernest Strickland, President of the Black Business Association, proud to be your title sponsor on this empowering journey with Sispreneur Stories.